You're listening to Two Guys Talking Wine with Michael Pincus and Andre Prue.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Andre. You're so proud of yourself and your planters.
Yeah. Actually, I don't deserve credit for the idea. My wife had this brilliant idea because you catalog wine cellars.
Yes.
And as a result, you occasionally end up with the really nice wooden boxes.
Yep.
And my wife thought it'd be a great idea to turn them into planters. I've got a little herb garden in my backyard.
You do. And then you've actually made like an underbelly so that there's no critters can get under there.
That's right.
So that's nice. Yeah.
We did learn something that the wine boxes where the corners are dovetailed as opposed to nailed shut.
Oh, yes.
Do not like moisture.
Yes, they do not.
They sort of banana peeled out,
yeah. That's the one problem, and I know I can find you some more with nails.
I also feel like you were doing this you were thumbing your nose at me a little bit because every single box that you gave me is from Bulgari.
Well, you always want first growth Bordeaux. Well, ask me how many people are opening first growth Bordeaux and going, here, take the box.
Well, I have Burgundy boxes inside the house.
I don't have any. Again, people do not take a lot of Burgundy boxes either. They do not open them a lot.
Oh, great! So if you're building an herb garden out of planters, it's got to be
Italian. People are opening Italian.
All right. So today,
well, I think look, for starters, and we're gonna do it next week or the week after. We're gonna have a guest on. I'm not gonna say who. We'll let people find out who it is by joining us.
I'm really excited about it though. It's gonna, I think, take us further down the rabbit hole of why more sommeliers in Toronto don't have more Ontario wine on their lists.
So we're going to be talking that, and then of course, what I thought we were also going to hit upon was the LCBO strike, but it's over because the LCBO. Let's be honest, the union gave up. They were trying to drive policy, and you can't drive policy. You can drive wages. You can drive job security. You cannot drive policy.
How about that? Ninth hour Hail Mary, the crap they tried to pull. I remember seeing that Friday afternoon the strike was done, and then the strike's not done.
Yeah, we want the wages back that we lost. No, you can't go on strike and then get your wages back.
Yeah, that's not how strikes work.
No.
Man, I got to tell you, if there's anything that's sort of the nail in the coffin, and once again, I know everyone's sick of probably hearing me say that I'm a labor guy and that I'm a union guy, because I am a union guy. But when you have a well functioning union with great leadership, I mean that's what you hope for. If I was an OPSU member, I would be livid right now. If you're an LCBO employee listening to this right now, if you're not on the phone to your OPSU trustee demanding their resignation and an election for new leadership, you are failing as a union member.
Absolutely. I'm not a union person per se. You're more pro-union. I have nothing against union, but they got nothing. They got nothing more than they wanted. They should never have gone on strike because for some reason, OPSU decided they didn't want ready-to-drink stuff in the in stores.
The whole thing,
and that was the whole thing.
The whole thing is still just cuckoo bananas to me. And the thing that I found very frustrating during the strike was seeing the number of people who have been brainwashed to think that the LCBO is the only person who can sell alcohol. And I'll tell you what, the one thing that OPSU did well is getting that messaging out. The Galen Weston ads to brainwash people that we're going to make Galen Weston richer with alcohol sales.
Sure, but I also saw some numbers that said it's 60+% of Ontarians said this is they are pro alcohol in other stores besides the LCBO.
Yeah.
60+%.
Yep.
You're not gonna win over the public when 60+% wants that.
All right, that's enough about that because the LCBO stores are back open. I got 2 emails today. One from George Soleas himself welcoming me back to the LCBO.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I've got to say, if there's anything that I learned from this LCBO strike is I can do without. I spent quite a bit of money on Ontario wines, and I did some consignment ordering. I ordered some nice bottles of Calvados from the friendly people at Halpern. There we go.
I ordered some Sauv Blanc from Profile.
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
Shout out to the agencies.
Yeah. So good. So then I said to you, what do you want to do? We need a podcast this week. And I said I got some old stuff in the cellar. We haven't opened too much lately.
Yes.
And for some reason, you just went, how's Pinot?
Did I do that? Oh,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I've been really busy again lately. Not as busy as I was in the spring, but really busy. And it was kind of like a quick conversation because our guest who's coming on next week was supposed to be on this week, and just some last minute juggling. We're doing what us football folk might calling an audible.
Yeah.
We had to change the play at the last minute.
So we went with Pinot.
And you're going to get me in trouble with the first wine. So you've brought 20 Pinot Noirs of a variety of producers. I think it's a mix of Niagara on the Lake and bench properties.
And there's some Prince Edward County as well. I don't have anything from Lake Erie.
I don't know if they have any Pinot in Lake
Pinot's
Erie.
not really their thing anyway. And the oldest I think is from 2010 and then 2016. So
a nice retrospective.
So we got a nice 7 year retrospect of some Pinots. And this is around the time that Pinot starts coming into its heyday in Ontario. 2010, 11, 12, people start going, okay, we're going to open wineries where we're going to focus on Pinot.
Yeah.
So the first one, I have to be honest.
You're going to get me in trouble with this.
I just want to get this over with.
Yeah.
Because I think it's probably going to be the weakest, and I hope I'm wrong.
Well, 2 episodes ago, we talked about Marco Piccoli, who is with the Niagara Crush Studio. And when he was manning the helm at Arterra, they released... Yeah, it smells like purple. I can just smell it here. They released an Arterra Pinot Noir, which is an Appassimento Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
It's from 2015. It's boozy and purple. That's what it smells like.
It was like, I think it was supposed to be...
There's not a single redeeming quality of this wine.
I think it was supposed to be Arterra's answer to Meiomi. You know what I mean? Like, let's see what we can do with something like that. And it's only 13%, so they claim. But
yeah, I wouldn't even water my plants with that.
Okay, let's get into the real stuff.
I am just so I can redeem myself in case anyone from Arterra is listening to this. I am so glad they brought back Le Clos. I'm so glad they've righted the ship. I got to spend some time with Levi DeLorean at I4C over the past couple of days and just chat with him. And man, oh man, seriously, across the whole portfolio, the quality of those wines are so good right now. It's hard to believe that in 9 years you could right the ship that much. Between some of the new sparklings from Q coming out, and honestly, prior to I4C, I had a Jackson Triggs reserve Chardonnay sent to me, and even that's starting to taste more in line with what the top quality is in Ontario. So there. Enough about the old, in with the new for Arterra.
So this is Flat Rock Cellars 2012 Pinot. Just the Pinot, not the Gravity. Just the Pinot.
It smells a little warm, like it's a little bit more like burnt tire.
12 is a hot year. And I'm now watching your child play with my dog, and this is probably some of the cutest thing I've ever seen in my life. This is my Greyhound is such a placid dog, and she's almost sitting on her.
Whoa!
She doesn't like the sitting part, but.
Meanwhile, earlier tonight, Henry, my 14-year-old hound dog, tried to steal a snack from Spencer's hand. So, you know what Spencer tried to do to Henry?
Don't say bite her.
She tried to bite him.
Okay.
Oh.
When the dogs and the babies get together.
All right. So at I4C, I actually bought a couple bottles of the 2013 Rusty Shed because that is drinking fantastically right now. I just wanted to preface this by saying I'm not really digging this 2012 Pinot. I feel like. Also, I know Pinot tends to go up and down, and this is under screw cap, so it might come back. Maybe we'll revisit it later. You should leave the cap off of it. It just feels like really closed off and savory. Like
Well, we got a hot vintage, right? 12 is a hot vintage. You can see there's all kinds of sediment underneath the cap, and actually
this is,
within the screws too. You can see it there.
This is it's not oxidized, so the screw cap held.
Yeah.
But like it still has like really like a burnt rubber or like, you know,
There's definitely an earthiness
like
to it.
leather on a hot day kind of smell to it. And not a lot for fruit. A little bit more dried on the palate, but it's still like all of that like dried fruit and leather.
Yeah, that one's not doing it for me. Now you've been to Burgundy. You tasted old Pinot Noir in Burgundy.
I did,
and so
it knocked my socks off.
So at some point, we're going to after we taste a few of these, you're going to have to
do a comparison.
Relate back. How are we doing with ageability? Because right now we're looking at. So this one's 12 years old. Well, we're gonna go back as far as 14 years old.
Okay. But I mean, the big thing that I've one of the big things I've learned about Ontario wine in general is that not every wine is made to age, and the old wines in Burgundy that I tasted were made a lot differently than, the Flat Rock, which I realize is a barrel selection. Like, I know that's one thing Ed absolutely prides himself on, is that this is gravity. It's just the declassified barrels. Okay. But, I still, like, I'd have more questions about, like, crop yields and hand harvesting. I know Flat Rock does hand harvesting. I have some more questions about how it's made before we draw the comparison to Burgundy.
Okay. All right. Well, we have some reserves in here as well as we have regular. This we're not going to, because we have 20 wines. We are not going to go by year. We're going to kind of go back and forth here. So this one's a 2014.
Yeah, you're literally grabbing at random, and we should probably pick up the pace a bit on these wines that are not super great. So this is 2014.
This is 16 Mile, and this is Incivility. So this is the this is the
top tier.
This is top tier. Okay.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, well this makes up for the last two. I am picking up a little bit of VA on the nose.
Yeah.
But not enough that it overpowers. See, like, now this is like dried cherry, dried rose petal.
It's put it this way, this is not unappealing, and it's a cooler vintage. Now you got to remember, 14, a cooler vintage.
Definitely earthy on the palate, but still nice fruit going on. The color is still quite red. Like it's not going like that orangey color.
It's a little bricking going on, but this is. Got a little dried cherry in there. Yeah, that was.
I mean, clearly the best of the three so far.
Yeah. All right, Andre, we're gonna head back into a hot vintage. We're gonna head into a 2010.
I guess it's interesting. Like, why did you stock up on these hot vintage Pinots? Is just you really enjoyed them while they were young?
At that time, I really liked them as they were.
Yeah.
I thought I'd like everything that I always did was to further my own knowledge, my own education on wine, especially Ontario. So this one's a Rosewood, 2010. This is their straight Pinot. That's not smelling any good.
Really? I'm really enjoying it. I think it's more dried out than the 16 Mile. Like, there's no, like, vibrant fruit. It's... I guess this is the thing that I've learned is... I know I keep saying I don't really like old wine, but it turns out I quite enjoy older Pinot.
See, I find this dry. I find it... it's earthy, but I'm getting more wood on it than I'm getting anything.
I'm not sure if I'm getting as much wood as you. Like, I'm getting more fruit than wood, but it's dried. Like it's cherry fruit leather. Fruit snacks. And, yeah, it's interesting to go back in the way back machine. Like, man, how things have changed at Rosewood since 2010.
Yeah, a little more on the funky side as far as their wines go.
Now or then?
Now,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned. Management has changed over a little bit. They're I find them harder to talk to. Anytime I've reached out, they've been like, "Sorry, we don't do that." So, all right, then
No.
I won't promote your wine. Sorry. So, just to do a comparison, we have here a 2010 Rosewood Reserve. So we did the straight Pinot, and now this would be the Reserve from the
2010?
same vintage.
So this is when I'm curious if this would be... Is the VQA designation the same on both?
So the Reserve is 20 Mile Bench. The other one is Niagara Escarpment.
Oh. See, the Reserve smells more like cab. It smells like old cab.
This is...
No, there's nothing good about that.
Yeah, there's nothing redeeming about it.
But it's almost like the regular 2010. They found a way to retain some acid and a little bit of finesse to it, where the 2010 Reserve... Who would have been the winemaker at Rosewood in 2010?
I think it was Natalie Spikowski. Yeah, there she is. Her name is right on the back there. Natalie Spikowski. Great winemaker. She'd made great stuff, great Cabernet Franc and stuff like that.
Well, I mean, okay, so that's good that at least sort of 50-50. One was great, the other one not so much. And so we're doing a hat trick of Rosewood here.
So this is 2012. This is, again, straight Pinot from another hot vintage, but 2 years later.
This would be Ross?
I thought it was Spikowski as well, but it does not say this time. So maybe Natalie is long gone. Actually, that one is quite pleasant. That one's actually drinkable.
It is, but it's still like not quite giving me the fizz. Like it's missing the depth. So, I mean, we're 5 wines in. I think we've got 2 that are standing out, and that's the regular Rosewood 2010 Pinot and the Incivility from 16 Mile.
Yeah, there's some subtle fruit in there, but
The 2012? Yeah. I don't know.
But I'm
But it's
also
also
getting-
like it's missing. It's. I don't know. It's like a hat with like nothing under it. Like it's hitting nothing on the mid palate as it's rolling off the back of my tongue. Like it's just it's hitting the whole front like third of my tongue, and then there's nothing left.
yeah, it's like a donut wine, right?
Yeah,
And
like-
there's not even a finish, so it's not even a donut. As you said, it's a hat.
It's a hat.
And as one of those, I guess triangular hats that you see in the.
Oh, you should be familiar with those. The dunce hats.
Yes, let's go with that one.
Yeah.
And then it hits the point, and then it's gone. So, very unfortunate on that one. So, moving right along.
Yeah, and I guess we should do the disclosure on this as well. Is like you're in the process of tidying up your cellar, so you literally grab 20 bottles at random. We're not doing this to embarrass anyone or anything.
No, look, these wines are, as I said, they're anywhere between 14 and 8 years old.
Yeah, and I think we were still at the point where, we had the Trailblazers, so like Le Clos Jordan would have been up and running at that point for like 2010. Harold Teal would have had his project well underway by then. Wineries like Leaning Post and 16 Mile would both be in their infancy. So, like, I don't think Pinot had quite cemented itself as the powerhouse.
No, it was. There we go. All right, that cork maybe didn't want to give its way, but okay. So we have one of the one of the big players as far as wine goes here. I'm not liking the color of this in any way, shape, or form, to tell you the honest truth.
Yeah, it's pretty dark.
This is Big Head's 2012 Pinot, another hot vintage Pinot.
Wait. Was this one there a Passamento one?
I don't. Oh Jesus!
No, that's not good. That's corks too. Sorry, Michael. This is getting into Kentucky wine territory.
Oh my God!
Yeah, 14.7% alcohol. Oh yeah, so this was the one made at Cornerstone. So this would have been a Passamento as well. Okay, so the good news about this is, if both Jacob or Andre are listening to this podcast, I know I asked Andre about this, and he said that it was a mistake to do Pinot Noir as a Passamento.
Yeah.
So, it's nice that we got a post-mortem mea culpa from the winemaker on that. What's next?
So that was not good. Okay. All right. Here we go. Now, this would have been one of the, this is one of the ones that I pulled out thinking, oh, you know what, that should be good.
Look at the color on that,
color
too.
Looks great. So we're back to Flat Rock. We're back to 2012. Didn't realize I had this one here.
Oh.
So
whoa,
where we had the 2012 regular. This is the Gravity. So this is the big gun. This is where Ontario started thinking, or at least Flat Rock started thinking, that they're going to get serious about Pinot. Flat Rock started as
Flat Rock's always been serious about Pinot.
But I mean, now we have the Gravity, which is serious Pinot.
This is legit. Okay, so you asked me about a comparison to Burgundy. It's amazing what a difference barrel selection can make. This is tasting like some of the older Pinot that I tasted in Burgundy.
Yeah, so that's what I was looking for. I was kind of hoping that we would find
it's got
some of those Pinots that would remind you in that way.
That dense fruit at its core, and then like the savoriness around it, the forest floor, the mushroominess. What's that really out-of-date pop culture reference you make about wine when you want to spend some time with it for an entire evening?
All night long, baby.
What's the pop culture reference you make?
Well, it's a Lionel Richie wine.
This is a Lionel Richie wine.
Okay. Yeah.
Like this is legit, and this one was probably $30, even if not at the time, maybe 28 in 2012.
That's too legit to quit.
Okay, you're getting a little more recent with your culture references, but you know that song came out in like 1990.
I know. Okay. Actually, as they say, Pinot is the heartbreak grape, and not just heartbreak in the vineyard, but heartbreak to find a wine. You have to go through a lot of Pinot to find a good bottle. Let's be honest. We've gone through 7, 8.
8.
Include the Artera. 8 bottles till we found
took the
one.
Artera off the table. It was that embarrassing.
Until we found one that was, really, as you said, legit.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh my gosh. Who was the winemaker at the time? That was Jay?
Oh, jumping! You'd have to ask Ed on that one. I don't think they put it on the back labels.
No, I think it was Jay. Jay Johnson was there, and then he went to Hidden Bench for a hot minute. Right? That's the lineage.
Yeah, I would need to talk to Ed.
It's beautiful.
So let's stick in 2012. Another place that I think is underrated when it comes to Pinot.
Oh yeah.
So this is Cave Spring, and it's their estate. So this is Beamsville Bench, whereas Flat Rock is 20 Mile.
Mm-hmm.
This is Beamsville, and I don't know why.
Sorry, I was still sipping on that Gravity. That wine is
it's
epic.
So.
What's the vintage on this Cave Spring? I never think of Cave Spring as a Pinot maker.
Correct. Underrated Pinot producer.
Because it's the house that Riesling made.
Correct. We always think of Cave Spring as a Riesling producer. We never think of them as their Pinots. And I always find their Cab Francs in a hot vintage are very good, too.
No. Mm-mm. I think this is another one where people got a little overzealous with the potential of those first few really hot vintages of the 2010s. Like 2010 and 2012 were both overripe and over-extracted, and the wines were great while they were young.
Yeah.
And I think the problem we have now is some of the wines that were over-extracted, you extracted too much tannin.
Yeah.
And the tannins will never soften, and the fruit's going to just drop off. So, unfortunately, that Cave Spring was over-extracted, jammy, like, clunky, and, I mean, not an indication of their best work. I'm sorry.
All right, let's head off to Prince Edward County.
Okay, let's go to Prince Edward County.
Where Pinot seems to be, king, along with Chardonnay.
I would argue Chardonnay more than Pinot, but what do I know?
You would always argue in favor of Chardonnay. Now, this is a Huff Pinot.
Yes.
This is 2014. I don't know if you remember, but Huff was not originally set up as a Pinot house.
No, it was Chardonnay and Merlot because they had the South Bay vineyard. And those South Bay Merlots were usually pretty solid.
Yeah, and then it, the nice or the interesting part about that is now that vineyard is in the hands of Lighthall.
Yeah, it is in the hands of Lighthall.
And they're making some pretty awesome stuff from there. In 2020, they were just awesome. So this is a 2014, it's the Pinot Reserve.
Oh, no.
I believe this could be one of the first Pinots that Huff makes.
Okay, which might explain what I'm smelling. I'd like you to give your observations first on this one. Yeah.
Ew, David. That's a more recent reference, I thought.
Well done.
You know what? I think
you could pull off a great Alexis if you really wanted to.
I don't think I smell anything on this.
All I smell is wood. And I mean, it's sort of, it happens with wineries when you start up a program and you're going in with like all expenses. I was actually joking a little bit with Mary Delaney of Batchelder, who sells a lot of really great barrels in Niagara. I remember last year I was asking for a second fill Burgundian barrel from a nice French Cooper, and she said to me, I don't have any of the perfect barrels to sell. And I mean, it's a challenge. It's like, as globally we're seeing a movement away from new wood, if you're a winery that's starting up and you want to invest in good barrels, I think inevitably that first time around you're going to end up with a higher percentage of wood than you should have. And I think that's probably what's happened here at Huff.
I'm getting some sweet vanilla oak. That's what I've got out of this. It lacks the fruit that I was really wanting to see.
Yeah, it's feeling like it's a heavier toast too, like more of a medium toasted wood.
So it'd be interesting for Frederick Picard to come on.
Yeah, we haven't had him on
and talk about, say, that one. I'm going to stay in the same vintage, which is...
It's been a while since we've tasted some of the, like, Huff used to make some banger sparkling wines, too.
Oh, yeah. Like, their Couvigny was pretty good this year.
No, right on.
Yeah. So, here we go. This is not a house you think of for Pinot. It's because they don't do Pinot. But in 2014, Cave Spring decided that they had found... Sorry, not Cave Spring.
No, Creekside.
Had found some Pinot that they were very happy with and decided to make some. I don't know if they make much Pinot at all, even to this day.
I don't ever remember seeing Pinot at Creekside.
Correct. So this is just, it's Pinot from the Queenston Road Vineyard. So this is when they're starting Queenston Mile.
Oh, there we go.
That's right. So then they turned Queenston Mile into the Pinot place.
And now they're unaffiliated.
Yes. So.
Well, that's not bad.
So this is the the forebearer of Queenston Mile. I find that inoffensive.
If that isn't a 3-star rating, I don't know what is.
But it's not what do you say? Give me the fizz. It's there. It's red wine. Yeah, that's another unfortunate piece of news there.
See, but that's the thing is a lot of these wines that are dead, I'm sure, like, you bought most of these to put in your cellar, which means in their youth they were solid wines. So, this, once again, I hate that we have to do this, but just because we have had flack from some of the producers when we're reviewing wines from the cellar, we're not doing this to embarrass anybody, and all of these are wineries that we really enjoy visiting and enjoy tasting their wines at. So the wines that aren't showing well, like, I don't know, like your cellar was in pretty good shape, so they aged the way they were supposed to age.
Okay. I'm kind of pulling out, besides the flat rock, like, let's be honest, I'm kind of pulling out the wines.
I'll open this one so you can talk while I open it.
Oh, okay. So I'm pulling out the stuff that is a little more esoteric. Let's call it that. Is that the word I'm looking for?
No, it's not. You're pulling out like pretty mainstream stuff. The only stuff that I would say is like esoteric was the Arterra and the Big Head, but the rest of these are cool climate producers who should know how to make cool climate wine.
Well, because what I've got in reserve.
And know how to make cool climate wine. Sorry, that was passive aggressive.
So what I have behind me are what I think should be the bangers, as you call them.
Yeah. So, I'm so pleased to watch your vocabulary evolve.
And if that's the case, then maybe there are some producers that Pinot was not their forte back when they were making Pinot.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, Flat Rock, that's their bread and butter, so it was really good. Creekside, not their bread and butter. So Rosewood, not really their bread and butter. They were a more Cab Franc house.
I would argue at the time it was.
So here we have, this is from what year?
Oh, a 2016 Paul Bosque Vineyard Pinot Noir.
From Chateau de Charme.
Chateau de Charme. By the way, I know this vineyard. There's, in 2019, maybe some rough reasons why you would know this vineyard.
All right, so...
Oh, this nose is solid.
Again, not a producer known as much for Pinot.
I'd agree with that. Oh. This is light. This does not taste like 2016. I mean, I'll be honest, this is not as good as the Gravity, but...
I would say that's fresh-ish.
Yeah.
Like, not fully fresh, but it's as you said, much lighter than expected. It's from the side of the road that's the Paul Bosque side. That's.
I would argue that this doesn't really taste aged. The tannin's still soft, but it's still hitting, the sides of my palate there, and like, wow, this is well done.
This one I would also say is inoffensive, but in a better way than the 3-star. Like it's...
No, I would say this is...
Although okay. I'm starting to pick up oak on my third and fourth sip.
There is oak, but not too much. It's well integrated. Like I'm looking forward to pulling a few bottles aside to do a retaste at the end, and this is definitely up in the retaste. If I'm scoring this right now, it's at a 3.5...
Yeah, 3.5, but no more.
I'm pushing it to plus. It's a 3.5 plus. It has some nice weight to it.
I'd like to see where it's going to go. Some of these could open up quite nicely. That right now, that Gravity is still the number one wine of the night. Okay, so I'm going to let you open this one again. This is from the Old Third. So they definitely are a Pinot Noir house.
They are.
In Prince Edward County. This is really what these guys do.
Man, I love the Old Third because it's like, I think we have some people who have worked hard to build a cult winery, but like deliberately build it as a cult winery. Like, oh, I'm going to make something with like really exclusive bottle. Like, I think what Two Sisters trying to do with Stone Eagle was build like a cult winery.
Correct.
And they're failing miserably
at that. I would agree 100% on that. And now they're making a whole winery about it. I have no idea. I have no idea what that's going to be.
But then every once in a while, I would argue that Five Rose has done a great job being a cult winery, and had like, if anybody knew like how hard it was to get Wes to agree to come on our podcast, I'm so glad that he did. It's because like they didn't want They didn't want the attention.
No, he didn't.
And it wasn't about them. It was how important that place is. And then the Old Third is the other place where, really, really nice proprietors have always been warm and welcoming, make a tiny bit of wine.
Yep.
It was expensive, but never obnoxiously expensive for what it was.
No, based on what they were making. It was this 14, obviously cool vintage. Now we're also talking Prince Edward County, which is even more.
Oh, there's a lot
even
of color
more cool
for 2014.
That's corked, and now I'm crying.
Oh, that's really too bad. We just built this place up.
Wow, that's immediately corked. It's not even.
Oh, that's really too bad. I was really looking forward to that.
That was one of those ones that I was that I had said, you know what, I think I'm holding back the bangers on you.
Yeah,
but,
I mean that's too bad. You know what? That being said, though, I still will go 100% like over and over again. Is like opening a corked wine sucks, but it's not as crappy as opening like an expensive bottle that you've been saving and having the expensive bottle just not deliver what you hope it is. Man, that's too bad.
All right, let's stay in the county.
Okay.
All right, you want it?
Is this another bang? So I've heard of Hubbs Creek, but I've never really tasted at Hubbs Creek.
So Hubbs Creek makes some really great stuff. He's makes a great Pinot Gris.
Okay, excuse me?
Yeah,
baking soda.
Great Pinot Gris.
Did you just say?
Look, I like Pinot Gris from the county. I think they're doing a good job out there with it, as they should, and I think they're doing usually something unique. Either they're throwing it in barrel, they're leaving it on skins, they're leaving some lees contact in there. And if you're going to do that,
are you feeling okay?
Then I think Pinot Gris can be good. It's when you just put it in stainless steel and go, hey, that's Pinot Gris. I think you're doing a disservice to your customers. You're just saying, here's a white wine.
In that same stretch, you said, I like Pinot Gris and I like skin contact Pinot Gris.
Just a little bit, so that it's pink. It's probably one of the few white wines that deserves a little skin contact. Because I like that. I like to see that coppery or that pink color in Pinot Gris.
I'm going to agree with you. I was at a wine bar last fall in Toronto. It was a place that carried a lot of like orange and skin contact wines, and the bartender talked Guillaume and I into a heavily skin contact Alsatian Pinot Gris. That wine was hot fire, and I wish I could remember who the producer was, because it's one of those things where like I would never go and buy a skin contact wine just because I have that I get my shoulders up and someone's like, it's an orange wine.
Hair on the back of my neck goes a little hair wire.
I gulped that wine down. It was so good.
So Vincenzo Di Simone over at Di Simone Winery has got a Rosato. That's what he's called it. And it's a skin contact Pinot Gris. It's not for everybody, but I did like it. I really enjoyed it, actually.
I mean, it's not terrible. It's a lot of wood. There's a lot of wood on this. Or it feels like there's a lot of wood on it.
There's also a touch of VA, I think.
I don't mind a touch of VA.
But it's not getting in the way. This is another of these wines that I think in a retaste, we may enjoy that.
Okay, we'll set that aside. I mean, there's a cool thing about Prince Edward County. Is 2016 was hot vintage, but it was still Prince Edward County. Alcohol's 12% on it. That tastes wonderfully phenolically, right?
Correct. Maybe a little too much wood, but I think maybe the fruit comes back.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, here we go. We got wax on the top.
We got some wax on the top. We've got a 2016 Hansberger. This is the
I
first.
Don't remember. Does Hansberger make Pinot every year?
This is one of those hands across the border or whatever they call it.
Oh, is this Mason Vineyard?
No. Check the bottle. Maybe Mason Vineyard.
Mason Vineyard.
So yeah, she was her stuff. But she made it for Hansberger. And they did in the same year. I think they did a Chardonnay and a couple of other, and they did a Gamay because she wanted to explore other grape varieties besides what they just did, which was Cabernet Franc and Riesling. and so
Well, this is nice. So the wax was just a light dip on the top of the neck, and the whole thing came off with the cork. It's a composite cork, so I'm really not worried about this being corked.
nose is all right.
See, to me, this smells more Oregon-y than
Now that's got some. That's very, very light for 16. Extremely light.
I don't agree with you. I think this has like a nice density to it. It's just like it's not dark fruit flavors. It's like light. It's more
Correct. So that's the
raspberry,
extremely light fruit.
cherry. But the flavor profile. But the thing is, it's concentrated and it has a nice density to it. This is not. So this is another one where I think it comes down to producer and vineyard and how the wine is made, because this is not showing its age at all. Like, this is still quite young, quite vibrant. It's almost too bad we opened it now. Do you have any more of this?
No, but I am. You know what? Put it this way: I'm glad we did open it because I didn't want it to turn into some of these other ones. Right? So it's better to open it early and watch it evolve, say over the course of an evening, than to open it too late and realize we're getting nothing out of that later.
Yeah.
So this falls somewhere in the area just below the gravity. But,
Definitely.
But still in that Venn diagram.
Well, and that's the thing is, like, to me, this really isn't showing its age at all. Like, it's lovely. It is lovely. I'm enjoying this a lot.
Yeah, that's a fresh wine. So let's say 2 out of. I'm just kind of looking at what I have left here, so that I can give you an idea. 2 out of 15 are wines that we're of the idea that that's really good. So again, a tough call.
Oh wait, we won't. Okay, we're at the 43-minute mark. So
all right, so we're gonna go a little quicker now.
Yeah, hand me another bottle.
So 30 bench.
Okay, 30 bench. Another place that you don't really think about for Pinot because they're the House of Riesling.
They're a House of Riesling, and they are a house of. They make some really good reds there too.
They do,
like the Benchmark Red, and the I had the 2012 Benchmark Red not too long ago. Man, that was still a baby. It was really, really good. Granted, I think at the time that I got it, it was like $65 a bottle.
You spent $65 on a bottle of wine?
I may have. Okay. All right, so I've.
Okay, 30 bench.
Oh, he snaps the cork right in half. Shall I pour the one that I did open up?
Yes. My spittoon's getting full.
Here we go. Ready? This is one of Ontario's premier Pinot producers in my book. This is a Westcott. Yeah.
Yeah, this is one of those.
Westcott.
This is one of those things where I don't ever want to see the terms Grand Cru or Premier Cru used in Ontario, but I had a chance to visit the Le Grand Clos vineyard this weekend.
Okay.
And just seeing that whole stretch of land from like the Artera Holdings to Flat Rock to I guess another Artera, the Talon Ridge vineyard, to Westcott. It's just like there's something special about that strip of land and the quality of wines that come from it.
And this follows in there.
This is the Westcott?
2016. I think it was 200 cases made. My eyes are. This is the reserve.
Wow.
I don't get a lot of oak on that at all as a reserve.
Wow, 12.5% alcohol.
From
I'm getting
16.
I'm getting a lot of oak, but it's well managed. Like because it's a lot of vanilla. It's like a cherry pie, but it's not confected. It's like a sour cherry pie.
Yeah, this one ranks right up there with the Gravity and the Hansberger. As I said, I was holding on to the bangers.
This is top right now. I mean, the Flat Rock Gravity is showing its age, which I really dig. Like it's an old Pinot,
but I mean it's 4 years older. Like let's put that in the context. You're looking at a 4-year-older Pinot. Give this Westcott another 4 years. I don't know. Does it still have that kind of
completely
beauty to it?
I would venture a guess that this Westcott has another decade ahead of it.
I don't know if I'd put the decade. I'd put 5 years.
I
maybe.
mean, it'll definitely get dried out in 5 years.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get to the 30 bench here.
Okay, so the 30 bench is where we kind of started that, and then we had a snap cork.
Hey, I got it out, and you know what? There's no bits of cork in it, which is better than you usually do.
That's true. 2016.
In case anybody can hear what's happening in the background, I don't know how much these microphones are picking up, but my backyard abuts to a basketball hoop. That's one of the communal gathering places for children, and there is an intense game of hoops taking place in the backyard right now.
And we're drinking Pinot, so it's kind of a.
But check that before.
What, did you find some cork or? Oh, it's corked.
It's corked.
Like that's you know.
That's our third corked wine.
Yeah, it's a third corked wine in Pinots from. No, that's 2012. I'll look back because I've written down every time
so
that something was
that's
corked.
the old third, the big head, and the 30 bench. Like we're at 15% corked wines for what you've got.
That's not a good ratio, folks. I'm not sure what to say on that.
Yeah, and I don't know. When I was at Flat Rock last week. You know, Ed Madronic, the proprietor and passionate head of Slinging Bottles, was in absolute Ed Madronic form, going on about how screw caps are the better closure. I'm not going to say this tasting's definitely an exhibit for his case.
I don't disagree with him. You know, his wine still shows good. 2012. You know, the regular and the gravity still showed. You know, the gravity obviously showed much better. The 2012 showed okay. Now, here we are with Cloudsley, 2015. So a 9-year-old bottle, Homestead Vineyard, Pinot. This is a house that makes Pinot. Like he doesn't make anything else, does he?
He makes Chardonnay.
Chardonnay, okay. But
wow, the nose on this is holy. I mean, Michael, what do you think of this wine? I said nothing.
You did say something.
Holy Mackinac. If there's a wine that deserves a standing ovation right now, it is this wine.
That's beautiful. Still very nice. Glad I'm glad we opened it now. I didn't want that to dry out. This really is a true thing of beauty.
No, you know what this is. This is a banger. This is just something that makes you want to like nod along with like every beat. It's just holy crap. Oh, did I tell you I'm going to see Limp Bizkit tomorrow?
Is that why you're doing a lot of song references?
I haven't.
Or you want
I guess
me to
I've done
do
a couple. No. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this concert. And for those of you listening to this podcast who didn't know, I know you're silently judging me right now, but I don't care.
You know, 2015, underrated vintage because of 2016, but obviously good for Pinot. I think it was there only 15 on the table. That's stellar. That's a stellar bottle of wine.
Yes.
You know, hats off to that one.
Yes. So Adam Loy's the proprietor of Cloudsley, but I'm not sure who would have made this wine. Who would have made this wine?
He doesn't make the wines.
No, he doesn't make the wines. That's why I'm asking. So who would have made the wines?
Adam, hopefully you're listening to this podcast. Get in touch with us to find out who made your 2015 Homestead. That was my absolute favorite from that vintage because I remember going and tasting with them, and I was like, I really love the Homestead. I think it's the best one you made. So now I've got two coming up. These are the last two from what many would call the king of Pinot in the county, Clausen Chase. One's from 2014, one's from 15, but one of them is from Niagara, and one of them is from the county. The fruit, I meant. So we're going to start with the 2014 KJ Watson Pinot. From Clausen.
I don't think that's a vineyard they make Pinot from anymore. I think they buy
I think
Pinot Gris from it.
they do, and I think they
Look how light that is.
they might make something else from it, like their rosé. So
Ooh. It's the color of poop.
lots of bricking. That's orange for sure, but that's kind of how old Pinot should. This is a 10-year-old bottle of Pinot.
And there's VA, quite a bit of VA on it. Too much VA on it. It tastes like nail polish remover and mushrooms.
May blow off, but I kind of doubt it.
I doubt it at this point. I will bet you that VA in its youth made this wine feel way bigger than it did. Way bigger than the vintage would have made it feel. And I'll bet you this wine died about 3-4 years after it was made.
So we had the Cloudsley 2015. This is the only other 2015 on the table. This is Prince Edward County fruit. It's from the Churchside Vineyard.
Oh, I like the Churchside Vineyard.
I always love the Churchside Vineyard for their Pinots. I always find them nice and light, but they have. But I don't know if you can say this, but it's light, but it also has weight.
Yep, no, that makes sense.
that-
It's exactly like the Mason Vineyard 2016 Pinot Noir. Like, it's got a density to it, but it's still light. I love the roof on that church, and it's just like, I know we don't want to be always comparing ourselves with other regions, but there is something a little satisfying when you see someone bringing like a small taste of Burgundy to your region, right? Because it's definitely an homage to the Hospice de Beaune.
I'm not going to say anything quite yet. I'm going to let you. I'm going to let you look at it.
I've got nothing on the nose. Swirling it.
Like, the color is beautiful. Like, it doesn't seem to have bricked in any way.
I'm still not getting anything on the nose.
See, I like this one.
For me, this tastes more like Syrah. Like, there's like a spiciness to it, and like,
I'm getting
I don't
like a cherry rhubarb. I'm getting some really nice acidity to this wine. I think this one's got to open up just a little bit. This is one of those ones that, again,
can I get a report just in case there was something else in my glass?
could be some of that VA from the last one.
Thank you.
I think your spraying of Henry has gotten Stella upset. Yeah, see, I like this one. This is a really lovely Pinot.
See, I'm still.
It's pretty. It's got some floral to it.
It's okay. It's inoffensive, Michael.
Look at it this way. I think it's in the top 5 of what we've tried tonight.
I think it's like maybe number 5 out of the top 5.
I would not argue that point.
Okay.
But it's in the top 5.
Okay.
Like, I think if we had to do it, it's that Westcott is definitely in there.
Yeah, Westcott, Gravity,
I think the
Mason
Hansburgers.
Vineyard, the Chateau des Charmes, which was surprising, the Cloudsley.
I'd
put the Cloudsley, the Chateau des Charmes further down. Like, maybe the Clausen and the Chateau des Charmes need to duke it out.
But I think it's probably Cloudsley number 1. To tell you the truth, I think if you're going to be duking it out here tonight, it would be the Cloudsley from 15, probably followed very closely, by that Westcott 16 Reserve. And then the Hansburger would slip in there.
Oh, and we forgot about the 16 mile. Where's the 16 mile?
Where's the 16 mile? You know what? I would like to. I would go. I would taste the 16 mile again, maybe.
Yeah, there's a lot more fruit on the 16 mile now.
Still not as delicate. It's good.
It's holding on, but it's not in the top. Yeah, it might be number 3 out of the top 3.
Well, the 16 mile?
No, it's not. Okay,
No.
so I think if we're doing a top three, here, I'm looking at the Gravity because I do like the age on it.
Yeah.
The 2016 Westcott, and I think my number 3 is the Cloudsley. Wait, is this all of them? Did we open all 20?
That's it. That's 20. So let's go. Let's say there is a top 5, definitely.
I don't think I can. Okay, if I'm rounding out a top 5, I think we're looking at the 16 mile and the Chateau des Charmes to round out the top 5.
That's for you. Yeah, I would go with the Hansberger and the Clausen Chase 15 Trutside.
All right, so if we're talking about whether or not Pinot can age in Ontario, I think the answer is definitely yes. But I think it once again comes down to producer and winemaking technique. The producers who are investing a lot more in their vineyards and their cellar are definitely the wines that showed up top. I think closure plays a big factor. We had
Absolutely.
15% of these wines were corked. And, man, like even less than 10 years ago, like Diam was getting onto the market. We had a couple of Diams on this table right now. If you're still using these cheap natural corks, like, come on. It's a difference of like 30 cents a bottle, which I do realize makes a big difference. But like,
or go to follow Ed's. Go Screw Cap. Like, I mean,
and that bottle of Gravity aged very nicely and still has a long life ahead of it. Because of that, I mean, assuming you like dried out Pinot.
Correct. 2012. Like it's the oldest wine in the top 3.
And I think if we're talking about like people who experiment and stuff that makes sense, like the Flat Rock regular 2012 Pinot Noir, it makes sense that it didn't make our top 5. Like it was a barrel selection, so it's logical that was a wine that was made to be drunk younger.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Queenston Vineyard from Creekside. You're dealing with a producer that doesn't make
a lot of Pinot.
Make a lot of Pinot.
Rosewood, I really don't understand 100%. I thought when I pulled out 3, I thought at least one of them would make the top 5. Even the one under Screw Cap. I'm a little disappointed in that because they were known for really good Pinots.
Well, I mean, we could always stock up on Nebulous, their pet nats, and the other skin contact stuff that they're doing now.
Oh, and the Sweet Cab Franc.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff to look forward to from that winery. And then I think the Abominations, the Appassimento Cab Franc from Arterra, where I'm really glad they did a 180 on that, and the big head, where and that's the thing where even Andre would admit was not.
Pinot Noir is not something that should be a Passamento. And then if you look at the other things that really didn't make it, you're looking at Chateau de Charme. It's not one of those wineries that I'm thinking, oh, Pinot Noir for sure. Some other ones that.
But it was one of the.
It was one of yours,
but the top or the upper part. I'm revisiting it right now. We've got a few that we're going to have to revisit. But, thanks for listening to our rambling and rocket tasting of 20 Pinot Noir. This feels very old school two guys talking wine.
It is, but you know what? We don't do it very often, but it is good to look back at old Ontario wines because, a lot of people ask, even on tour, when I'm on tour, how long do these wines age? How long do our wines age? And, it really does, as you said, depends on so much on producer.
I mean, I learned that the hard way where I was buying and stockpiling a lot of the Chardonnay that I love and I still love and will continue to love and tell people to buy. And that's like Featherstone, Back 10 Cellars, number 1 and 2. But these are not wines meant to age longer than 4 or 5 years.
See, it's what I kind of so far have learned about Ontario Chardonnay. It's 7 years. Is the top for most places. I have tasted a few that have gone past 7 years, but I have also tasted some Burgundies that have been 10, 12, 14.
Yeah, I think,
and they're so much heads and tails above.
Okay, I think that's the big thing. Is like I said, I foresee one of the best wines I tasted the whole weekend was a 2013 Rusty Shed Chardonnay. The 2018. Which would put it at 6 years. So right on what you're saying, that from 16 Mile was on one of the panels at School of Cool, and it wasn't even dusty. That wine has a long life ahead of it, but I think we're starting to see, as the Macho Man Randy Savage would say, the cream always rises to the top, brother man. No, wait, I'm mixing up
That's Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan and
Are we
Macho
watching
Man.
the RNC's convention or something?
Oh, my God. Okay, don't even get me started. I'm Andre Prue from AndreWineReview.ca at AndreWineReview on social media.
I'm Michael Pincus of MichaelPincusWineReview.com. You can find me as the Grape Guy on most social media, Michael Pincus on some of them. Andre, thank you for indulging me in 20 Pinot Noirs. I know you said bring 5. I quadrupled it. Good night.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe to Two Guys Talking Wine on iTunes.
Two Guys Talking Wine is produced by Jim Ray, Adam Duran, and Ken Little.